Hello everyone, welcome to this episode number 25 of the CGVinny coffee breaks. I hope you are doing well, that everything went well during this summer. Today is, so if you don't know me, I'm Vincent. I am an evangelist at the Adobe Substance 3D team, and I do this kind of live stream every 2 weeks, depending of my schedule. And this week I wanted to make a recap of what what's going on during this summer. We made a lot of stuff while you were maybe on vacations, at the summer at the beach, I don't know. Yeah, so I decided maybe it's a good time to make a recap more or less of what we did during the summer. To be honest, I will start a bit before end of May because we had some stuff that were cool, but that's what we're going to do. As always, I'm reading the chat and I was starting by reading Dragon Up, which says shame, company making stuff for artists have the most hideous thumbnails. Yeah, that was a bit the point. I wanted to make something cheesy, but apparently Dragon Up, you didn't like it. Fair enough, that's fine. I accept it. It was really cheesy, made with Adobe Express and Photoshop, I think. But yeah, the goal was to be cheesy, and it is. It was second degree, but it didn't went here. That's fine. If you have any question, if you want to say hi in the chat, just leave the message. Tell me where are you watching from. I'm always interested. And without losing any time, I'm going to share my screen like that. So tell me also if the sound is good and everything. So first, I'm going to start with the Substance 3D modeler because there was a lot of stuff which have been made during summer. First, both on the official version and the beta version, because if you don't know Modeler, this is the modeling sculpting app. You can use it in VR if you have a headset, or you can use it in desktop as I'm going to do now. Personally, I prefer the desktop, but I know if many people prefer the VR, especially if you are a good artist. I don't consider myself as a good modeler, so that's perfect for me. And this is Modeler is an awesome, really refreshing experience for 3D modeling, so I really invite you to try it. I made an introduction to it to give you the basics, and you will see you can make so much stuff, and the team is adding more and more stuff all the time, so that's really something that is super cool. So let's have a look at the news. First of all, let me change a bit the color because I tweaked it a bit yesterday, I think. Let's do something like that, or even like that. So if you don't know Modeler, it's a SDF-based sculpting modeling application. When we say SDF, it means sign distance field. It means that within the app, it does not use meshes to represent the object. You are directly manipulating the volume, which we can say makes more sense because at the end of the day you are creating volume, and this way of defining stuff is really handy because it removes lots of technical constraints that you would have. For example, if I want to make something like this, let's say I take this shape, let's make it a bit bigger. I press spacebar because I show the shape which is like a stamp, and when you do spacebar, that's when you add the volume. And I want to add another one like that. Let's move that here. And I do spacebar again. You don't have any issue of whatever case here, because it's not, once again, you don't have to say, oh, I have to add some edge loops, to add some faces here. No, you don't have this here. It's really something super intuitive, and once you get used to it, it goes so fast to make your stuff. That's really crazy. So as I said, I made a full introduction to the software not a long time ago, I think in May or April. So I won't make it now, but I want to show what did we add recently, both in the main application and in the beta application. Once again, the beta is free. You don't even need to have a subscription to use it. So you can go, you just need, I think, an Adobe account, and that's it. You go on Creative Cloud Desktop. I'm going to show you a bit. So it will be in French. You go to your app, you go to beta, which is here, and you have somewhere here Substance 3D Modeler. So go ahead, try it, tell me what you think. I'm always interested. Now, what do we have here? So first thing first, we have more information top right. We have been reorganizing a bit the UI, but for the most important part, we are going to start with, let's go here, with materials. So we have recently been adding materials. So by default, you have this material. I can rename it, but you can change it, completely the look to get something physically based, of course. That would make sense for your project. So I'm going to change the color, put something like that, for example. The metallic, you can change the index of refraction. That may be something that we will change as well to at some point. But this is really, it really helps you get an idea of what you are doing. So before we just had like a basic clay material. Now you can tweak that the way you want. So that's really a plus. To me, I don't know, as I don't have a good sense of proportion. It really helps me when I have to do an object in plastic. I'm trying to first create a material that would match the kind of reflection and look and feel that I would love, and it really helps me start sculpting and creating new things. Then, so this is the first one. Another one we are going to, that is great, is this one. So let me delete here and create a new layer like this one. And we have created something which is called, which is the 3D asset here. So if you know us a bit, you know that we have a huge library online which is called Substance 3D asset, which contains materials, but also 3D models. So we said, how can we take advantage of Substance 3D Modeler, of these 3D models within Substance 3D Modeler? So, with this feature, you can do that. So for example, let's say I'm looking for a chair. What I can do, like, let's say I have a scene to make, I have my hero asset where I will dedicate time, put details, etc. But I have to put stuff around, and on this I don't want to spend too much time. I'm ready to take already made assets. So what I can do is, for example, let's say I want to make a chair. Take that. Let's change a bit this. I'm going to make something like that. I'm going just to make it a bit thinner and larger, like that. When I do spacebar, if I do shape matching, you will see what's going on. So when I start doing that, and if I do spacebar, so I have some clay here, you see that it starts browsing in a Substance 3D asset to find shapes which are close to what you are looking for. Take that, this, and I'm going to put the view like this. This is one of something new as well with the numpad. You can navigate like this. It's the same as Blender shortcuts. So I can do this. I can change this and that. Here I'm in the orthographic view. Here again, reducing that, holding Control, so you can get something like that. And you see that I have some stuff which are starting matching. I'm going to press spacebar again, and now I have tables, so which is fine. And if I want to make sure to have only tables, I can also filter here, like table, and I will get this kind of table. So let's say I like this one, for example. I can type, and it will replace my doodle and put the object instead. So this is really great. I can go here, create a new layer, and say, let's go back here. Something like that. I'm going to type it twice. And if I'm going here, once again, I can say, okay, let's move that. Oops, sorry. I'm going to remove this. Let's move that here. Move it up a bit. I can adjust later, but it's just for right, making it right. So if I use spacebar once again, it tries to find cylindric object. What I'm going to do is go here, reduce a bit the scope of that, spacebar. And now you see that I wanted a vase, so it proposed me some vase. So I can take something like this, and once again it will be replaced. And the good thing is that you can scale that. I can go back in my object, and I can say, you know what? Let's put some. Am I on symmetry on this one? No. Well, I can go and start sculpting this one here and try to make some stuff. I may see a bug. Ah, no, it's fine. It was maybe bug angle. So I can add some stuff. So this is super cool to start putting object. And once again, you can even import, for example, if I put teeth here, I think we have, I'm going to stop shape matching. We have some teeth, some object, some, yeah, table, house. I think you can start looking without making a shape, and it will give you some different stuff, interior, home, etc. Super useful to start your scene and to start making your scene. So that was the asset part, which is interesting in my opinion. Let's continue and let's delete that. So I'm going to go to the world level, delete these assets. And another thing that we added here is the environment. We give some more control, so you can change the lighting. You can, for example, you can change the intensity of it. You can change the HDR map, etc., etc. Here I can create a new material for this one, maybe. Let's create a new one. So I deselect, and here I can say none, and give the color. So you can play here with the environment. You can decide for the ground if you want to show the grid. So these are more control that we added that can be useful. You can see the IBL and make it blurry or not in case you want that, etc., etc. We also added here a way to create cameras. So if I'm putting myself here, I can say I want a new camera. So now in theory I have a new camera. I had a bug yesterday, but great, and let's go to the default view, and you see the camera is here. So now if I go back to my camera, it will stick to my angle. So that's something that can be useful. Once again, if you want to have a good composition, you can use that without any issues. Now maybe one of the most of the coolest thing we have done is this one, is about the primitives. So by default, as we have seen, when you have this object, this is considered as clay. It's stored in the layer. You can see it here. For example, when you have a group, you have clay within it. And when you go inside this, you can sculpt it. You can do, for example, I can move it this way. I can smooth the angle. This is considered as clay. And you can do lots of stuff with that, to play with it, to adapt it to your need, etc. Which is great, but there is a thing which is a bit, which can be considered sometimes as a limitation, is the fact that it's destructive, which means that in some ways for good artists it's really good if they want to sculpt that in interesting ways. So we're making it with that, it's better with the graphic tablet. But if you want to be efficient, what you can do is to use something called primitives. So what are they? So to use primitive, you have to be at the world level, which is called select tool as well. You can see it here. And if you have two ways to access this, you can either do a right click and go primitive here, or at the bottom right, you also have that. So if I do here, you see that it asks you if you want which primitive you want. So for example, if I want something like that, I can have a primitive like this one. Once again, it inherits the default material here that I've been making, the first one. So maybe to change the color to something more neutral, like that. And here, the good thing is it's not a stump anymore. It's already an object. It's already a primitive. You cannot deform it, but you can tweak it. For example, here, I can say, you know what? I'm going to play with that and make it round a bit like that. And maybe I'm going to make a rotation. So I'm going to hold Shift to make a 90 degrees rotation, Control to move it this way. Or maybe, you know what? Oh, that was a mistake. I want another one. So what I can do here, I can change the shape. I say, you know what? I want this one. Sorry, not this one. The cylinder. So I have the cylinder, and I want to change the shape once again. So I think there is even a way to reset the shape like that. And I can activate the mirror for this shape and say, okay, let's move it twice like that. Maybe, or this. And this is something that I have been making not a long time ago, which has, let's say I want to make a gamepad. I can say, okay, let's take that, which is great. And now, if you look at my outline now, you see that it's not a group or a layer, it's a primitive container. And in this primitive container, I can add more objects. For example, I can either add this way, I can say add new primitive, but it works, huh? But the thing is it's a different size, so I have to adjust. Or what I can do as well is take this, do Control D, so I have two, and here I will change the shape and get back to my stuff here, so I can go here, change the size here. Oops, sorry, just below. And the great thing is, as I say, I have a really bad sense of proportion. So here, for example, I can say this is too wide. No problem, I can get back to my primitive here, change it again. I will have to adjust this, of course. That's easy. Make the center after that. And once again, you don't have any issues. We are making volumes, which means that everything works directly. You don't have any artifacts. It works well. So that's a great stuff to do. And what you can do as well, let's say I want to add some more elements. I can, let's duplicate this one, my first one. You can rename them, of course. I do Control D and I will put it, well, it's already put below. And what I will do with this one, you see that at the top, I can, here, I can combine in different way. I can say add, carve, which is like subtract, and intersect. So what did it mean? It means that if I take this shape, and let's say, for example, for this shape, I want just one. So first I'm going to take that and move it here. That's fine. I'm going to move it like that. And instead of carving, I will subtract. And now it makes like something make this kind of stuff. I can remove the fillet if I want something neater and play with it. If I need more resolution, I can do that as well. I can go here and say, I want more resolution, but it's at this point, it's not really necessary because once again, it's non-destructive. So I can get back to this at any point. Another thing that you can do is to choose the way it blends together. So if I get back here, for example, you see that I have a blending, I have a blending parameter. So if I play with that, you see, let me add another one, another shape, Control D, and I'm going to move that like that. Let's say, removing the symmetry. And if I take the blending, so it will act on everything that is above. It's really, if I put it really looks at the order. It's very important. So if here you see that it blends, it starts blending like in a way which is way more organic. And with that, you can make some very interesting shape that makes a well, new way of doing stuff. And while I'm writing this, I've seen some concept of the team who is adding new way of blending. So right now we have three. We have add, carve, or intersection. The intersection is this one. Don't know if it will work here. Let me remove the blending. Yes, with the blending off, you see that the intersection, what it does, it will keep just the what is shared, the shared volume between the two aspects. So once again, it can be cool. Good morning, Melanie from Los Angeles. Hope you are doing well. Okay, so with this, that's the primitive, and yes, once again, we have seen in theory more to come with that, with more way to combine volumes and some crazy ways to combine volumes. What else did we add? We also add new ways of painting, if I'm not wrong. So let me remove this one. I can hide it, by the way. Have this. I'm not even sure I can paint on it, because I think here what you have to do, you can do it in selection tool, but as you see here, I cannot, even if I'm going to the name, I don't think I can go here and move it. You see, I cannot, because it's a primitive. If you want to be able to play with that, you have to convert it to clay, which means you will lose the iteration aspect of it, but it will allow you to play a bit. So what you can do, if you have Adobe, you can duplicate this, for example, hide one of them and say this one, I'm going to convert it to clay. Maybe too soon. Let me. I think we have. Okay, this one by default is not hidden. I'm going to. So right now, if I convert it to clay, I can sculpt it. I will hide the first one. This way. So you can sculpt, you can add some details. And talking about details, we added, if I'm not wrong, you can use texture to paint right now. Let me choose another color. Am I? Oh, it's because with this material, I have to say I want to use diffuse. So now I can paint on it this way, and you have different. Let me check. Yeah, so you can use new maps to play. So that allows you to make like a quick paint if you want. That's not the most beautiful painting you have seen, but still, if I reduce, I can get more control about what I'm painting. Here there is no UVs, which means that that's lazy, steady. I may want to change the pressure, the color intensity here, size, hardness, color intensity. Yeah, this one I can make some stuff. So once again, this is something you can put to make like some cool stuff. Although I would say this is for simple texturing. Of course, if you want to texture, you will go into Substance 3D Painter. Talking about that, export, connect. Oh yes, I don't know if you have seen the new Logitech MX Ink, which allows to virtually paint if you have like a Oculus headset. Well, since the latest version, which is like a week ago or less, it's supported, so you can paint and sculpt with this. It's really look like a pen, so this is great apparently. What else did I want to say? So we improved this. We also improve the symmetry. Right now you can change the symmetry of an object. So let me remove this, for example. Before, for example, if we wanted to make symmetry, let's take a cube like that. Okay, like that, and I will press twice. If we wanted to active symmetry, it was one axis. Right now you can choose the axis, which is great. That's the first step because it has been asked. So yeah, something important, of course. Let me check if this do, but they activate it. Why? Okay, it works. We'll have to say why it doesn't work if I do that. maybe a bug. That's something to check with the team. Okay, so yes, we improved that on few other elements. For example, you can use when you have like the crease, no, not the crease, the raise smooth. Is it the raise? Yes, you can use texture in most of them, so you can add way more details than before. So that's the biggest stuff we can say. I have a question of pets of Warcraft. We could use intersection to make STL cut for 3D painters. That's a good question. I don't want to say anything wrong. I don't know, but I can ask. Could use intersection to make STL cuts for 3D painter? No, I don't know. I know that at the moment, from what I've seen, is that people are. We have actually many beta testers who are printing, but they go, for example, into ZBrush to prepare it to sculpt. So not yet, I think, if I'm not wrong. But that's something we want to push, because we have seen many people who says, "Oh, Modeler is perfect for me to sculpt, to have my shape, my character, and I would love it to be ready to 3D print." So that's something we are talking about, because you are not the first one who make this kind of requests. So far, I think you still have to make some steps in other software like ZBrush, for example. Hope it helps. So now that I have showed that, I'm going to show quickly Stager. I won't launch it because I tried to launch it yesterday, and this plus OBS was a bit crashy, but we are going to see a bit what's going on in the release notes, which is here. So let's put the release note here, and so this one is from May, and you may say, "Oh, this is quiet." Well, in 3 weeks we have Adobe Max, and you will see that we have some stuff to announce regarding rendering in our ecosystem. So it's from October 14th to October 16th. I really invite you to watch. That's something which can be interesting, especially I think it will allow more people to be able to play with 3D and to make renders. We are going to get back to that soon. So what did we have in the version 3? First, we had a way to generate backgrounds. As you know, Stager, if you have used it, it's really it's not made, for example, to make animation movies or to make a full ArcV scene. It's really made to focus on one or two objects to make a composition, a staging, or of a scene or of a small scene, but really focused in a hero asset. And we had a function which was really great, which is a match image, which means that you were able to import an image that you have taken and to match it to match the perspective of the scene and the lighting and the size of the image of the scene to the image. And we went a bit further. We added generative AI within that, which means that if you don't have this image, you can, for example, say, okay, I have this backpack, which maybe your hero has assets. So you want this, you will put some time in Painter to texture it, in Modeler, if you have made it in Modeler, for example. Or maybe a client gave it to you. And the background is something you have to do because you have to put something, but that's not your point of focus. So that's where GenAI is cool, because it means that you can type, for example, okay, I will need a bokeh close-up of a table with a background, blurred background, showcasing windows and the city. I don't know exactly what's the prompt for this one, but it will make it for you. And after you can match, as I said, the image and the perspective, and you will have this kind of scene which blends 2D and 3D. So this is a huge gain of time, and it allows you, once again, to do this kind of stuff, depending on what you are doing. Same if you are a material artist and you want to showcase your material, what's around is necessary, but that's not your point of focus. The point of focus is the material and how it will look. So it allows to really prioritize where you want to put your efforts. And that's a bit our approach with GenAI so far in our tools, is we look at each tool and we try to say, okay, what's the focus of the tool? If it's, for example, if we take Sampler is made to blend resources. Sometimes resources, most of the time, made somewhere else. Sometimes it's material which were made in the designer. It can be a picture that you took to make a material. So, but the blending and the association of it is what makes the strengths of Blender of Sampler. Sorry. But so that's why we added GenAI to start building resources like pattern, textures. We're going to see that, and then you can start from this, blend them, adding some more details, change the color, add parameters, etc. But yeah, the idea once again is really to say, okay, how to assist you in your main work, and not, but not how to make your main work. The focus is really assist you in your goal. We also updated the select tools, which make it easier to select it. So it's always something cool. And finally, and that's why I don't show you, because yesterday when I tried to make both at the same time, it was a bit crazy on my PC. We have an interactive denoiser, which means that if you activate the ray trace, the live ray trace, we had this denoiser before at the rendering phase. Now you have it also when you are working live in the viewport. So just when you move, you will see all these noisy points, and when you release after like not even half a second, you will have a noise remover, which is a convergence, which will give you a pretty neat image to work with. Finally, we improve also translucency. That's something we added to Painter as well, not a long time ago with the Adobe Surface ASM. It's not Adobe Surface definition, not definition management. I don't know. Whatever the name is, the way we define materials. This is PBR basically, but we want to define it properly and communicate with our partners. So the look and feel is the same whether you are looking within Substance 3D Designer, Sampler, Stager. The goal is to have a one-to-one, and also with Maxon, for example, if you use a Substance material within C4D, we want and the Maxon wants the material to look the same. So that's why we define it properly so they can look at it and make sure we interpret the material the same way. Finally, we added some new materials in the library, which is always cool to start with, and well, some bugs, some stuff, bug fixing, etc., etc. And once again, stay tuned. Adobe Max is in Miami. I'll be there. If you're in Miami, just say hi. And this, yeah, if you don't know Adobe Max, it's our creative events that we do once a year. Actually, more than once a year, because there was one in London. It's really focused on creative clothes, so more graphic designers. I would say the main audience are not pure 3D artists, but more and more they want to integrate 3D in their pipeline. So we show them what they can do. We show them integration with Illustrator, Photoshop, and how what are the advantages of 3D, for example. So that's super interesting for us, because the more we broaden the audience, and it means that we have a bigger audience, and if we have a bigger audience, we can develop more stuff. So that's always cool, and that's always great. Also, if you have some friends in these areas, I really invite you to show you what you can do in 3D, because sometimes they don't even know, and that can really help them a lot. Now let's switch to Substance 3D Painter, which is maybe where I have the most thing to show you. Pets of Warcraft says, thank you, I live to make models and to print them. Could you make the cuts and the keys? You are too technical for me. I'm not. You could make cuts, of course. You can cut your model. This we have like some split tools. This no problem. After, once again, I won't say anything stupid. I don't have the knowledge in 3D print. But maybe, yeah, maybe I can take some information at some point, discuss or invite someone who makes some stuff to see the pipeline. So I will be less stupid. Okay, so let's switch to Substance 3D Painter. So Substance 3D Painter, we are going to get back a bit before, as I say, just before the beginning of summer in May. Why? Because we launched a huge release. It was the number 10, and also for as this news and announcement, we actually made a live stream, I think, in June or July, because it was the 10 years of Adobe Substance 3D Painter. 10 years that it exists. We're super proud. We make like I don't know how many releases of it, how many features. It's not the same tool at all. Once again, Painter at first was a tool which focused on video games, and the idea is the goal of Substance 3D Painter is how can we make the fact of applying materials and texturing a model fun and easy and efficient, because before it was just Photoshop. It was a bit tough because it's not made for that. It's the same company, so I can say it. Photoshop is a great tool to manipulate images, but it was not meant to create materials, so it was a bit tricky. So that was what the challenge of Substance 3D Painter for video games, and then we expanded because we had a lot of interest from VFX who say, that's cool, we want bigger maps because it's not enough for us. And at first we said, it's not made for you, that's why. And when you have like lots of studios, mosquito. Lots of studios, I say we are interested, sorry, so we expand and we added all bigger maps, we added UDIMs, and we did more stuff for this industry. And then we had the automotive, the RVs, and now we have fashion, we have product design, graphic design, and we're super happy because we have so many different industries and people with different constraints that it makes the job of developing this tool super challenging but super exciting at the same time. And so number 10, we developed a bunch of stuff. Let me put it here so I don't forget anything. Painter, okay, it's here. Okay, so I'll start with the 10, which was end of May. And this one, actually, we really thought about... we had graphic designer in mind. And we said, okay, how can we provide new feature for them, but that will benefit everyone? And there was some easy answers, as you will see. And the first one, so this scene is made by Valeria Gerontopoulos, who is a PM of the Substance Painter team. So she makes this nice disco 80s arcade scene, which is super cool. And I will destroy it a bit for the sake of visibility by going here and change a bit the lighting to get something that makes it a bit more useful for us. By the way, I'm going to show you first a feature that is quite new. I think it's not the... if you are watching, please press the button. So first things first, I'm going to show you a feature which is quite recent. So let's remove also the post effect. Which is this one. Sometime when you are trying to texture and you have the environment, it's not lit the way you want. You have to change it a lot. You have to play. What you can do, you can change the environment alignment from wall to camera. And what it means that you can set it once and then it will follow the camera. So it will be always at the same angle as the camera. So it moves with you. And it's especially cool, in that case, we don't see it a lot, but if you have to texture below an object, because sometimes the environment maps are not made to lit below, but with that trick, it saves you, it allows you to see it and to lit below. So I like to do that when I do demo, because I have the lighting, I can tweak the lighting once, and it works more or less the way I want. So the first thing we did with the 10, Pets of Warcraft, so you can do a whole scene. Technically, yes, depends on the scene. Of course, I won't make a full level, but a scene like that, yeah, definitely. In that case, if you look at this, Valeria used UV tiles, which mean UDIMs, to separate the different elements, and you can go pretty high with that. Limitation would be more on your machine, but you see she split everything in different UV tiles to keep a good resolution and works efficiently. So yeah, you can do that definitely. Of course, once again, if you say, oh, I will import a full 50 km by 50 km level and texture it, I will say, oh, that's not the good workflow. But for scenes like that, it works pretty well, especially unique scenes like this one. Yeah, we worked a bit, so right now you can support big scenes thanks to Christophe Sohn, who makes lots of job of optimization. He's not the only one. So for graphic designer, the first thing that we did is the support of system fonts, meaning that before, yes, it was possible to work with fonts, but the workflow was a bit horrible, to say the least. The way it worked is that you had some generators. In this generator, you had one font and you were able to write and to apply it. But if you want to choose another font, for example, you had to change the generator and take another one. And it wasn't the font of your system, it was the font we decided to put within Substance 3D Painter. If you wanted to put your own font, what you had to do is to go to Substance 3D Designer, create a generator with a text node within it where you choose your system font, because yes, in Designer they were supported, and then you send it to Painter. So it was kind of a nightmare, and it was a bit running the flexibility and the iteration, especially if you are a graphic designer, but not only graphic designer, but if you are a graphic designer, most of the time you want to choose, to pick, to try different fonts, not like me when I made my cheesy thumbnails, for example, for this live stream. Now, if you look here, you look at the assets on the right. I'm going to hide this, and you have like a section which will gather all the fonts of your system. So this is great. Whoa, sorry, I zoomed with I made my mouse wheel roll a bit too fast. So I'm going to go on this wall, for example, here, and I'm going to go, by the way, if you want to change quickly from a texture set to another one, you do Control-Alt, right-click, and you will change directly here. You don't have to go this way. First of all, I'm going to put everything here in a folder, so we see what we do. And to import a font, super easy. What you can do is just drag and dropping. So I can go here. And when I do that, you see that I have a decor that appears. And when you release, it tells you, okay, you have these decals. Where do you want to put it? Base color, emissive, high, metallic, normal. You can choose. What I like to do is to say I want to put it in a mask, because what it will do automatically, it will create a fill layer. And in this fill layer, it will add a black mask. And in this black mask, it will add a fill. And in this fill, if you go in the grayscale values, it replaces with your font. So in one click, you have that. And I love when I work in Painter, but also in Designer or everywhere, to try to segment, to separate the stuff you are doing. Meaning that I want to separate the material aspect of my layer to the shape aspect, which is the font in that case. And the fact to use a mask, that's exactly what I do, meaning that I can go to my material here. I can change the color. Let's choose something that pops a bit like this. And if I want, after that, I can change the shape as well. I'm going to show that. I can, let's make it the roughness. I can push the height, give a bit of volume, and we have to remember that in Painter the height is like the normal. At the same time, it generates a normal, so you get this kind of stuff. I can change the roughness. Let's make something shiny. You define the way you want. I can put some metallic if I want. Why not? And on the other side here, what I can do is go to my mask, go to my fill, and here you have the parameters of your font. And first the text. So for example, I can say Pets of Warcraft. Sorry, I think your name. This is the name of someone watching right now. And so it appears here, as you can see, it works well. You can say, oh, you know what, I'm not sure about the font, so let me find another one. Let's take this one. You can put it here, and it's really well made because it keeps the other settings. Okay, it's a bit small, so I'm going to put that bigger, like that. And I can also put in 2 lines, so I can say like this, Pets of Warcraft, and put it this way. Maybe I say no, finally I prefer this one, and it works well. So you can really define the way you want. That's super cool. You can also say I want it to be aligned on left, center or right. I want it to be on top, middle or bottom of my decal. You see that we see the decal here, so it remains a texture. Well, a texture, it's a decal where it's projected here. So that's super useful, and once again, you have a lots of flexibility with that. That's great. Advanced, line spacing. Oh, okay, you have like you can really go crazy with that character spacing. Interesting. First time I open this, so you see you have even more options, so you can be picky and you can have a picky art director. That's great. Next time I will make my title with this, so I won't have this kind of comments at the beginning of my live stream, but that's okay. I take it. That was my fault. I wouldn't make this kind of joke anymore. Okay, so fonts, super great. Another thing, which is if you ask a graphic designer, something they do have in their toolset is obviously Adobe Illustrator, which is obviously for us also makes sense because of course we are Adobe, so we have a Substance 3D Painter and we have Adobe Illustrator. So how can we make them work together? Once again, great for for graphic designer, but what I'm going to show, I'm pretty sure it will interest 100% of the audience here, because it's okay, yeah, there is so much advantages, but you will see. So first of all, let me go into my document. You won't see it here. Okay, so here I have an Illustrator file made by my colleague Anthony, who makes great stickers that are used if you are on our Discord server. There is small bitmap emojis. These are this one. These are great because, well, as you will see, now we do support, let me remove that, stickers within Substance 3D Painter. So I'm going to use that more in this backpack here. So Control Alt right click. I'm on the backpack, and here I'm going to remove that at the moment in order to get things right. I'm going to just push a bit the resolution as well because it's a bit weak here. Well, weak, it's okay, but I want the best for you. So now I have all the details on my backpack, and if I take this guy, what I can do is just drag and drop, and you see that now we support natively the Illustrator AI format. So by default it's a bit big, of course, so I'm going to reduce that like that. But at the same time, I want to show something. If you don't know Illustrator, I'm assuming you do, but let's make a small recap. Illustrator allows you to create vectorial graphics. And what does it mean? It means that you are not painting bitmaps like Photoshop or even Painter at the end, it generates bitmaps. You are painting vectors. And you say, okay, fine, what does it mean? It means that they are resolution dependent. For example, if you have a curve like that, the curve is an equation. So it means that if you make it really big or really small, you will keep the same amount of details because the equation, the vectorial information is the same shape. So what does it mean in practice? If I look at that, for example, if I can make it really small like that, you see that it's blurry because of my texture resolution in Painter. It's not the problem of the vectorial file, it's the problem of my pixel. If I look here, for example, if we go here, because it's here, you see, so there is not lots of pixels for this guy. Now, the interesting part, if it would have been made in Photoshop or Designer, or if it would have been a regular bitmap like a PNG or JPEG, for example, if you make it really big, well, you will get this kind of pixels. But here, with vectors, I can put it up and up and up, and you don't have any issues. It will work the way, you won't lose any definition. And I think this that's why sometimes if you go on graphic designer stuff, when you give them a logo in bitmap, they want to cry, because logos are made in, have to be made vectorially, so you can adapt it anywhere. So that's one of the strengths, and I think any industry can benefit from it. So it's good for graphic designer, but not only. So let's make it smaller. Another advantage of Illustrator file is they do have a feature. So if you look here, which is called artboard. So an artboard means that in an Illustrator file, you can store multiple projects, let's say, multiple graphics, and switch from one to the other. So that's a great way to keep variation of a logo, for example, or in that case, to keep variations of the stickers, which means that in one Illustrator file here, I have 4 or 5 variations of matte in the same file. So you can imagine organization-wise the time you can keep, and also to show to your client, for example, you can say, okay, which one do you prefer? This one, this one. Mm-hmm. So you save a lot of time. And once again, congrats to Anthony for the job. He's a great graphic designer and makes some cool stuff like that. We love that. So that's one of the things you can do. We added also some stuff with another SVG vectorial files, which is not well, it's a vector files, but that you can share. We improved the settings. They are the common right now with the one we use for Illustrator files. So that's great to use. So Illustrator files, I hope you like it. Let me check so I don't forget anything. Oh yes, this one is cool. Okay, so one that is super cool. Let's delete this guy. Is you all know, I'm assuming, Substance 3D Asset, which is our online library. I talked about it a bit before. So if you look, so these materials, there is like almost 15,000 materials. I think it's the biggest material library online you can find, and more. Furthermore, as these are procedural material, it means that you have all these thousands of material and you have the settings, so it means you have an infinite amount of variation. So, and of course, this material work within Substance Painter, but have to say not community asset, it's really asset. Okay. And they were great, no problem. But the workflow was okay, but a bit slow. Meaning that you have like the really slow workflow, which is you go on the website, you look for some material. Here, for example, all assets. You say, oh, love this food, that would be perfect on my wall. I can look at the details. I see it says BSAR. You can have more details if you go. You can download. And then once you download, you drag and drop it within Substance 3D Painter directly on your wall, and it works. Quite fast, but we can do better. So this is the less efficient solution. The better solution was to use Creative Cloud, sorry, in French here, and you would go to the stock and marketplace in 3D. You would look at the material you like, and here you have two options. Either you download, or you can say send to Substance 3D Painter. So if I do, for example, this one, Worn Paint Timber, I can say send to 3D Painter, and if I go to Painter, at some point, it should appear somewhere. Project, stickers. Know if it's done. Oh, sorry. Wood one. I think it's this one. It's loading right now, if I'm not wrong. It's not this one, so it's not there yet. Maybe there is an issue. Yeah, it's still loading. I don't know why it's slow, so I will stop it. So you get the idea. But That's a way, and it may be a scanned one, so it takes a bit more time. That's okay. So that's the second one. But now what we do have is, if we go here, Windows View, Substance 3D Asset, we do have a Substance 3D Asset integration directly within Substance Painter, which is great. It's like a mini web browser, but the cool thing is I can choose one material. Like, let's say this one, I have it, so I will take another one. One wooden whole floor, for example. It's a floor paint wall. This one. Okay, I do download, and at some point, cracked peeling. Okay, I have to wait a bit, I think. Cracked. Oops. I have to remove here. Should appear. Okay, you see it's on the at the bottom. This should be yeah, because there is two types of material in Substance 3D Asset. We have the fully procedural one, which are great, but we also have a scan material, because if the material, we have access to the material and we can scan it, why not? You have a superb quality, and on top of that we do add a pass of procedurality, which means we add a parameter to change, for example, the aspect of it, whether it's the color, the aging, or other stuff. We do that. We are almost there. If you have questions in the chat, Pets of Warcraft is saying, let me check, I'm going to look at the chat. He's saying, that's super nice. I remember when there was no text in Painter. Well, there was text. Well, 2 years ago, there wasn't any text at all, which means you had to make like an image in Photoshop and import it. It was a bit cumbersome, but right now, it's way better. So you can use it super easily. Okay, we have it. I think also I'm streaming at the same time, so okay, it's here. So now, well, let's put that here. Wait a bit. Have my wall. By default, the scaling is a bit big, but in theory, if the scene and the material are properly timed, I can go to scale and I put physical size and beam. One of the advantages of physical size is if everything is properly set, you can do that. Well, for the floor, I would have to put a mask to remove that, but you get the idea. So again, super cool. Nice, nice. What we improved the download manager that we have seen for this, and just right now, you can reload the page. Oh, also, if you're a tech guy like me, you may be happy to hear that we have a Python API for a long time. And right now, well, first, if you don't know what is a Python API, I made a live stream 2 weeks ago. So watch it and you will learn how to make your first plugin for Painter, which is cool. And second, what it is, really shortly, Python API is the way to access parts of Substance Painter features via coding, via Python language, which is great to automate some stuff, to make some complex or repetitive tasks, for example. And in the 10th version, they added something really cool. Is now you can have access to the layer stack and its features within the Python API, which means you can create layers, you can create groups, you can do stuff like that, which was great. I actually based my plugin on this to manipulate a bit the layers, create new ones, etc. That's super cool. So a bit techy, it's not for everyone, but if you know someone, if you have like an art tech director, you can say, hey, can you do some stuff for me? There is Python inside, you have no excuse. Color management. So yeah, we changed some stuff. We improved the normal painting. I won't show it here, but that's good to know. What else? We improved the transform manipulator that I've been showing a bit. Like, okay, I removed it right now, but good to know as well. So manipulator are better, stuff like that, and few stuff, small stuff like this. This was a huge release. So 1 week ago, we released another one, which is 10.1. Generally, when we have a 10 dot or big number dot something, it's a small release, like a minor release, we say, but this one was quite impressive. It came with few features, but strong features. First of all, we had one, if you like, a bit earlier, we introduced something. Let me go here. Wall. Okay, I'm on the wall, perfect. So I'm going to put that inside. Oh, why is my thank you. And let's say I want to create a layer top like that. So a few times ago we introduced 3D paths, which are great, and I'm going to show. And many people say that's great because it allows you to make something like this. For example, I'm painting. Let's be romantic and make a nice heart like this one. Here. So this 3D path, and it's a bit older, but it's great. It allows you to define the path that is taken by the stroke. And the great thing with that is that you have the control on everything afterwards, which means now that I'm here, I can go, let's close this, and can go in my material and say, you know what, I want to use no way it's loading everything right now, but I want to use this, for example. If I click once, it will load the material here. Not the most beautiful, of course, but many people say, oh, that's great. Oh my God, I can go to the brush. I can change the brush. Sorry, I will close here because there is a dog who wants to fight. Okay, so yeah, you can change everything. So for example, here I can go in my material and say, you know what, I'm going to put metal. Oh, by the way, right now when you create a material, that's something you have to know. When you create a new one from scratch, it will just activate the base color. That was something that was asked by VFX, because when you have, before it was all the channels, and many people came with the feedback. I say, okay, that's great that you support material. But the reality is when I'm working, what I do is I'm focusing on the base color first. So if I have 50 or 100 channels and I add a new one and it loads everything, first of all, I will deactivate it, and second, I'm losing time. So that's why now by default, you just have the base color activated. Then, for example, here I want to add the metal roughness, and I can change its base color. I will put something like this. For example, I will put here. Let's put some metallic to make like this kind of metal stuff. And many people say, wow, that's cool because you can iterate, you can even change the brush. You see right now it's this kind of brush, that's so nice. But many people also say, who comes from Illustrator, but not only, say, is there an option to fill the shape that I just made? How do I do that? And I say, we don't have that, but luckily we have many great talented spirit within the team. In that case, it's Lena, who is part of the painter team, who decided that she said, I can make a filter to fix that. And she did that. And the filter is called Area Fill, or Fill Area Color on Mask, because it works with masks. And how does it work? It's easy. You just drag and drop it on your layer. Let me check. Okay, yes, on my layer. I'm not crazy. Here, and it will fill the gap. Didn't work, so maybe there is a hole in this. Just let me check the brush. Go here and take like a less crazy brush. I'm going to take this one. Okay, here it works. The thing is, it really looks at the pixels. So if there is a small tiny hole, it won't close the gap. There is few settings, but here it was not the case. So you say, oh, it works, but not totally, because you have to go in the settings. That's something we may improve in the future, but I hope so. You have to activate also the same channel which are activated above to to provide the information. So now, once again, you can go back here, you can select that, you can change it, and it will change everything. Small funny stuff that I like, once again showed by Valeria, I think, is that make sure that the 3D path is selected, because if it's not, if it's like that, for example, if you change the setting here, it will change for the next path you are going to draw, because one layer can hold multiple paths. But in my case, I want to change this one. So if I do that, I'm looking also Place of Warcraft who says, "Oh wow!" Okay, so I don't know if it's for this one or one before, but thank you. So base color, if you go here, I like to put, like, for example, gradient builder. That's super cool, because gradient builder, I'm going to change a bit also the metal one so we can see. Well, I'm going to do this one. So it works, but a bit crazy. So we're going to make some settings. First of all, in the gradient builder, when I repeat like that, by default, it stamps everything one after the other, which can be cool sometimes, but sometimes it's a bit crazy. What I want to do here, I want to use dynamic stroke mode. So when I do that, you see that now, let me deactivate that, the gradient is repeated on the way, and I can play with that and say, okay, I want to add more or less, etc., and change that and get some cool stuff. If I get back, okay, that's over. If I reactivate my fill area, you say, okay, cool, but in the middle, it's a bit not what I want. But no problem, you can go here, and Lena thought about everything. You can change the mode, so you have uniform, extend border, which shouldn't work super well, but extend border, uniform color is one color, sorry, that. Extend border is the one by default, and extend border and blur will give this nice smooth shape, and you can change the blur intensity as well, etc. So you can make just a bit or a lot. It works fine. Oops, sorry. Like that, maybe more simple. So this gives you these nice shapes, and once again, this is non-destructive, so you can go in whenever places you want. You can even change the color quantity. Although I think I have to activate the activation. Oh, I know, I have to change, how it's spread along the stuff. So that here. Okay, and maybe I have to play with the stamp count. Oh, stupidity. You see exactly what I said before. I'm playing with that, but my path is not selected. So now I can go here, say I want to add a new one, like that, and then I want to change the stuff here. So color 1, color 2, color 3, and color 4. Here I can put purple, for example, and yeah, once again you can play until you find the stuff you like. That's super cool. And once again, you can try to pick another one, but depending if it's, you see, if it does not, if it's a bit transparent or something like that, it won't work. It really has to be to fill the full gap. Here, for example, it works. But once again, you can play with that. That's super cool. I love it. Another thing that we did, if you are working in VFX and you are using the USD format to store your scene or your models. So USD is the format that we are supporting a lot. It has been developed by by Pixar. Sorry, it's open source. It's great because it's really made to hold a full scene with animation, with material, with everything you can define. It's really a container. And you decide what you contain, what is contained within it, and also you can store different versions of it. So this is extremely flexible. Multiple persons can work on the same file. The application, of course, supports that. A good example is Omniverse, for example, where we were able to work on one side with Autodesk tool, on the other side with Painter, on the other side with another tool. So this is great, and we are definitely supporting that a lot. We really believe in this format. So it's we have been supporting for a while right now import and export in USD. And now in the new version, what we have been adding is the fact that if, for example, you start the construction of a scene like that in another tool like, I don't know, Maya, for example, or Blender, and so you made the model and you started texturing stuff, now you can import within Substance Painter, and if you export properly with the textures, shaders, and materials, we are able to generate a fill layer that will contain your material and shading information, so they are replicating here. So you don't have to start from scratch or to replug everything by hand. So it's not it won't change drastically the world of the 3D industry, but that will save a lot of time for you, and I hope you will appreciate. Finally, another thing that we did, if you use Substance 3D Sampler, you may know that for quite a while right now, we have a tool which has been made by Guillaume Meyer, which is called the embroidery filter, which allows you to take a graphic, an image, and to convert it into well, an embroidery, which is super cool to make some patches or stuff like that. And many people were making it in Substance 3D Sampler to send it to Painter to put on a t-shirt, for example, or on a backpack. Now we have that directly within Substance 3D Painter. So if I go here, for example, let's take this guy once again, putting myself here. And what I'm going to do is to look for embroidery here. That. Okay, so it's there. And what I'm going to do is just drag and drop it here. So it will be really big right now. Why? Because it takes the size of the full scene into consideration. That was a discussion we had like not a long time ago to say, how do we deal with that when it's a scene rather than a unique object? But that's another story. And anyway, you will see that it's easy to fix. I just go here and I reduce the size like that. Like this. So we have this, and you see that I have my settings here as always, and at the bottom I have my embroidery parameters, and if I go at the full bottom I have image input. Generally when you have an image to add to a filter or generator, it's at the bottom. It's made this way in Painter. So what I'm going to do, once again, I'm going to take my Illustrator file because it supports Illustrator files. So yesterday when I made it in Spanish, people were asking, it's just Illustrator files? No, it supports any kind of images, whether it's bitmaps or vectors. Well, at the any kind, all the supported format, but PNG, SVG, JPEG, etc. It's supported. And you see that in that case, it makes me a great embroidery from scratch based on my image. With different settings. So for example, you can choose the amount of color. So in that case, when you have a graphic like that, the best is to say, okay, I know I will count and choose. If you are not sure what you can do, I like to say, okay, let's start from 1. So 1 color, it will take the most present color, and then you augment progressively. 2 color, you have a black and white. 3, I say, okay, I have the flames, nice. 4, nice, it gives me like the kind of shadows that we have here. 5, let's see, oops, sorry. 5, you see, okay, I've got this one. Let's see, 6 is adding something. 6 is not adding something. So in that case, what I prefer to do is to go to 5 again, and I'm happy with that. Then I can change the density of it, which will make like thinner yards like this. Super cool. And then you have different designs. You can choose like fill and outlines. So you see that we have these nice outlines. You can get just the outlines, or you can get this top stitch version, which is also super great, which gives you this kind of stuff. Then you can change the thickness, the length. You can define the color, how each color is supposed to react, etc. That's super cool. The outline that I I like. And what you can do, of course, as it's an Illustrator file with an artboard, well, you can change the design afterwards. So I would put a bit of love like that. If I do Q, I hide the icon. And well, I think it's super cool for your pattern. So we made this. In that case, we like when we do a feature to say, okay, who is the target for this feature? We try to visualize an artist, either from an industry. In that case, we thought about fashion design, and they have to work a lot with this kind of stuff. And then we make sure that, okay, this is useful for this in particular, but also in general, it can expand to. And in that case, I'm pretty confident it can extend a lot to video games, to automotive, to sometime product design could happen, VFX, of course, anywhere where you have clothes or embroidery. Well, this is perfect. Hope you like this one. Let's see if Pets of Warcraft will say, whoa! Hope so. Let me see what else. I think that's mostly it for Painter. It was a long part, but we had a lot of stuff to showcase. Let me check. I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything major. Of course, there are always few stuff. So it works with fonts, by the way. You can put a font here if you don't want this. For example, I can look at my font and say, okay, let's go here, and I can put like a font like this one. Replace it. 1 second. I can put like, oh, wow, and change the color here, for example. Make something that you like. So you have your your own backpack. So we added also a threshold filter, which is great to make masks. And by the way, I just want to show last stuff. Here, for example, I made this wonderful heart, but it does not only work with the splines. For example, here, let's say I'm going to remove that, and I want to make a fill layer. So in that fill layer, I will choose a color like maybe that. Let's make it metallic, and let's make this color. Oops, sorry, this color. Then I'm going to hide with a mask, add black mask, and here what I can do, for example, I can start painting something. So to reduce a bit the size, I'm doing something like that. I hope you love my art skills. Great. Now what I can do is I can use the area fill directly on the paint stuff. The only condition, whether it's a path or a handmade stroke, is to have a closed shape. And you see that now it works, and I can get back here and say, let's close here, let's add here, etc. Really great. Oh, this one, we had a problem. Okay. Okay. So you see that it works. It's quite easy. So if you want to make ID maps or zone or sectors, you can do this this way, and it will work great. What else? Oh yes, a cool one as well. Do I have here? Do some. Here I'm going to get here, remove this guy, this, and I'm going to go to my AI stuff. I'm going to make it bigger like that. And we had a cool filter, which is a pixelate filter. So many people were asking, oh, I'd like to diminish the size of my texture to get a pixel art effect. And the way Substance 3D Painter is made does not allow that, simply because right now how it works is that you can change resolution on the fly without losing any details. And this implies that we cannot make, we had to make a bilinear filtering any point. That being said, we made a pixelate that's perfectly simulate that. So if I put that on this, it will pixelate my art, and I can do some details like that. So that's a cool way to make pixel art really quickly. don't know if I can even go over that. So you see, I have my nice. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I think I saw we had like some transparency here. Okay, so cool. It's a small filter that is cool. We had a new posterized filter, new threshold filter, a new smooth step filter, and we improved a bit the eye codes, etc., etc. Third party we improve. Okay, yes, we make some change. We improve the performance as well. Also, always good to take, and that's mostly it. Now let's switch to Substance 3D Sampler. So Sampler, I would say that we made some work, but some hidden work. You are going to understand why. First of all, so I'm going to launch it. The Substance 3D Sampler team has been working on different topics, and one of them is in coordination with the Substance 3D connector or Substance connector tool. So if you haven't heard about that, I'm inviting you to make some research. It's actually an initiative that we launched, which allow to simplify the exchange and between applications. Of course, within a Substance 3D application, but not only. It's made to work with any tools. This is open. It's in an open license. I think it's a page 2. And the goal is to work with our partner to make some bridge. So if you have, for example, an asset that you are making in Painter or a material that you are making in Sampler, and you want to send it to Blender, Unreal, 3ds Max, C4D, that you don't have to say, okay, export, okay, then I import, then I plug. No, what we want to make sure is that it's easy to go from an application to another one. And once again, we made it so it's not tied to the Substance 3D ecosystem. Of course, it works with our ecosystem, but the idea after that is to say, okay, if someone wants to go from Maya to Unreal, they can rely on this connector API and make their own exporter, bridge, etc. That's a long process, but this will be open. It means that even you, if you have some coding skill, you can think of saying, oh, I love, I don't know, I love Godot 4, for example, and I want to make a bridge. I have the skills to do that. Let's look at this API and let's make it so I can export from Sampler to Godot, for example. Once again, it's open. And I'm really proud when we do this kind of stuff where we say, okay, that's benefit the full industry and let's make it open, because closing the process is just not the good way to go. So that's one of the stuff that you can see here. Well, you won't see it a lot here because I don't have any compatible. I didn't make the proper installation, but how it looks like. Let me. I'm going to put another object for now. That like that. Let's say you make a material, etc. How it will appear is here when you have the export. You will have all the Substance plugins here that will allow you to export to Blender, Unreal. I have Blender installed, so I have to double check if I have something to do by hand. But once again, right now I think we have Blender, Unreal, Unity, and maybe Maya and Max. I'm not even sure, but that's the beginning. We are going to get more. The idea is to get the maximum so anyone can work faster. So once again, that's some stuff that takes lots of time, lots of resource, but that are invisible to you. So even if I won't show as much feature, you have to think that this, for example, is a huge feature that will change many things. What else? Let me check. Where am I? So this is, yeah, the support of this is the main one. There was some stuff that we made related to Gen AI. So I know Gen AI is a word that people love or hate for good or bad reason. But as I said at the beginning, our philosophy is how can we assist you and make your, how can we help you focus on your work and take care of the stuff that are not directly related to your work. And in that case, in Sampler, one of the things, as I say, is to mix resources. So for example, you can be, if you are a fashion designer, or even if you make a game and you need some clothes, you can say, okay, I need to make a fabric. this fabric is something I need because I make this clothes. My clothes and my character is the most important, but I want to make this material, and I want, this is a guy, well, as I choose like a cheesy theme for this one, I will continue. For example, you can say, okay, let's take a denim like that, and here you see I opened generative beta. Here it's here by default, you can open it, sorry, and I'm going to put it here. And there are three main tools in this one. The first one is you can choose between text to texture. A texture will more correspond to a material like a rock, sand, wood, etc. Meanwhile, a pattern is more an illustration. So in my case, as it's a clothes, I would like to make an illustration. So what I'm going to do is, for example, I could type whatever I want, but let's say multicolor cartoony unicorns, and I will put like a light blue background. And the funny thing with GenAI is, especially when you do a presentation like that, is you don't know at all what you are going to get. Once again, we make sure that the content that we use is safe. That's really important because there are multiple debates with GenAI, but one of them is to make sure that what you will use is safe, that you don't steal anything to anyone. So this is this debate where you are safe on that. And then after that, what I wanted to say, yes, in the generation that we do have here, of course, as it's material, we make sure that they tile directly, so you don't have to see does it work? No, it works, no problem with that. So now what I can do is just take the one I like. I will take this one, I like it, and I will put it on my my fabric, and by default it won't make anything. Why this is normal? It's because by default sampler does not know what this bitmap is made for. Is it a base color? Yes, it is, but it could be a normal map, a roughness map, metallic. It doesn't know. We could improve a bit because right now I think if we make it here, it's a base color. But that's why I prefer that it does not do anything, because here by default I could go here and say, okay, let's choose the usage and put base color, but I have a small trick for that which makes a better result in my opinion, is to use the channel switch. And the difference is that in this one you will choose, you will move data from one channel to another one, so in that case from scan 1 to base color, but there is also a blending mode, and I'm really interested by that. So I'm going to base color, to the input channel, sorry, and put scan 1 because that's where it's stored by default. And you see that it would have looked like this if I've done before, which is great, but it's too clean. It's really, the base color is like covering everything. What I like to do is here change to overlay, because it blends with what we do have below. Let me just diminish the scale here. So, and it gives a way better result. What I'm going to do, in order not to blend too much the color, it's non-destructive, so I'm going there, and I'm just making sure to desaturate both color, so I have the good one. So with that, you see I have this nice cute stuff. I can go ahead and change maybe the fabric. I can go on Substance 3 asset and choose another fabric that I prefer. It's up to you. But this way, really quickly, I can make like some cool patterns. Now, another one, the second one that we did, and to this I'm going to create a new material. Change the scene to plane, and I'm going to go to texture. So this, in that case, it will create something like which is more organic, more realistic, let's say. And I would say, for example, yesterday I put Parisian pavement, and it works quite well. Pavement. So once again, the goal is to blend resources together. So this is a way to generate a resource. It could have been a picture that I've taken during my vacations. But in that case, I didn't go to Paris recently. I don't have that, so I can start with this and it should make a good job. Once again, in the chat, it's on my right. If you have questions, don't hesitate. Pets of Warcraft is interacting a lot, which is cool, but feel free to interact as well. And I have 4 variations, which are nice. I like this one. And what I like in this one is, for example, if so I will make image to material, which will convert my image to material. By default, I think it generates 124, but you can upscale that. So I have to look at crop, scale material. There is a reason why, because if I am 124, 124, I have to find why. I'm going to put 248. You can set the physical size if you want. This is not new, but it allows you to say, okay, what's the size of this? And by default, I say it's this one. 1 meter should be fine, more or less. So import. And what it does, it import my image, and from this image, it will generate the material. So this is not new, but combined. So, and based on it has been AI trained for a while, right? But the cool thing is now, let me push that a bit, the displacement, like that. It creates you rocks directly. So tiling is a bit strong. I will put one like that. So this is a good way to start working. May add some more micro detail. Maybe this stuff I will diminish the displacement a bit. Then maybe something like that I can, and that's where I would say the work starts, because I can say, you know what, I want to add some pebbles or gravel like that. If I add some gravels, it will look at my map and try to put gravel within it. Right now they are too big, so I will put like really small. Roughness, display, gravel type, interstice. I want them in the interstice, so I will make more like that. Change the color. That could be good stuff to do. I can put some dust if I want. Once again, the idea is to blend, to have a base to start from, and to play with that to get something that makes sense, and get something cool. So yeah, really quickly you can get your first material. Maybe I would change stuff, roughness, like something like this after the rain, let's say. And that's super cool, especially this kind of shape here in the middle are some stuff which are sometimes quite complex to do in Substance 3D Designer by default, so that could be a good way to replace it. And you have, if you don't like this option, you can generate more. Finally, let's say I went to Paris and I want to use another stuff. I want to use a picture I made and try to make texture from it, a material from it. So we had some tools to import, to make it tile, etc. But now what we can do, I don't know if we can drag and drop it. I can take a picture like this one, drag and drop it directly within it, and put generate. And what it will do, it will look at these pictures and generate variations of this picture that tile. So once again, it's a huge time saver. Even if we have the tools to make it by hand, depending of the material, sometimes it's more complex in some cases. Here, it should be fine even by hand, although there is not that much detail. But you see here right now, it makes some stuff which are quite close. So let's take, for example, let's take this one and make a new material. Once again, it will be faster. New material, sorry. Okay, I'm going to put this. I noticed that I would recommend to take something which is taken from far enough, so you will have more information to work on, and it tends to zoom a lot on the texture. So here, for example, it would be too much, but The goal is to showcase. I'm just going to change the physical size to maybe 30 centimeters. That and import. So same thing, it will try to mimic what first to import and then to use image to material to generate image, which is kind of desaturated. That. The ground is fine. Check that. I think there is an issue here because we have way more details. The volume is fine, but I think that the image is washed out. So we can make some settings to improve that. But this one is not as good as I would have expected. Except that, I think that's the most the ultimate thing that we did. And there is another one, which was once again a collaboration with a partner that we have announced at CGVinny, and I think it's great, which is the HP Z-Captis, which is a 3D scanner to scan a material scanner. So that's a great story because this is something that one of my colleagues, Anthony Salvi, a few years ago, he made a project when we were algorithmic. He was working on something is to build his own scanner, but with stuff that you almost can find at home, at least that are easily accessible. And he made an article from it. And meanwhile, I want to name someone else, but I have to find his name. Yeah, I got it. So he made this, and he made an article on our magazine at this time, which was build your own material scanner. Basically, it was that. And it was so great that it was read so much time. It was the #1 article for all the time of the magazine. He made a second article where he improved the process. He added some more stuff. And that was great. It was a huge tool, and many studios were looking at that to build their own version of it. So it was a success. It was such a success that we have a good contact with HP, and at some point we discussed with a passionate guy there whose name is Joshua St. John, and who say he saw that, he's, oh my god, but we have to make something with that, because with this knowledge, he said, I'm pretty sure we can build something even better and with a professional quality construction that we can do. So let's collaborate on that. And the idea was, okay, we share our knowledge about material data capture. They build the machine, and we provide the software to treat the data that is generated by HP Captis. And at CGVinny this year, finally, after a few years of work, HP announced officially HP Z-Captis. It's great. It's if you can see, let me check the. Whoops! So wow. Sorry about that. You see that the size is something that you can easily bring with you. Well, in here you have to be confident. Me, I wouldn't do that with the stand, but that's something you can use really quickly. It's really professional. This is a budget, of course, but it's way cheaper relatively compared to what exists. I think they just announced it today. You can find it for 20K. So of course, that's not something that you will buy like that. But you have to think that this kind of tool generally costs at least the double. So that's super great if you need for your studio to capture a lot of stuff, lot of fabrics, lots of references. You can go with that. We are super proud of that once again, because that was a long project, and the quality is great. And now what you can do is just scan it, and it will be directly converted by the Substance 3D Sampler into a Substance file, so ready to use in your pipeline. So yeah, once again, pretty happy with what we have here. So that's it for Substance 3D Sampler. Now we are going to finish just cleaning my stuff with Designer. And Designer, we had a release in July, a cool one with some cool nodes. I'm going to showcase most of them. Let me check new Substance graph. Let's make a, yeah, I'm going to make a metallic roughness. And first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to hide the library, is a filter which is called the Kuwahara filter. Because I think the algorithm that corresponds to that has been made by Mr. or Mrs. Kuwahara. And if you are into stylized art, you will love it. So let me take my my shape here, for example. Just let me check something. I'm going to look at the library view. See if we can find something interesting in the 3D PBR materials. Oh, no. PBR materials are here. See that. Large icons. I'm trying to find something. Let's try the bricks here. I'm going to take the bricks and I'm going to take this style here. Both can be useful in my example. So Kuwahara filter, let's take that. Let's plug it. So we have a nice brick wall. We are happy with that. By default, we have a nice realistic fabric. And what if I want to make a wall for a stylized game, but I don't want to start from scratch because I have Substance 3D assets, or I made my own collection, but I would love to adapt this to work with stylized art. So what you can do is to use the Kuwahara. Should have named it stylized filter because you are going to understand. So now that's what we see, and you don't see a lot of difference right now. Let's put this at 100%. Let's make it big so you can enjoy it. But if I start playing with the parameter, especially the radius, you see that it will create this kind of painterly effect. So I'm just going to plug it directly here so we can see. So first, right now you see it, but as it's mixed with the normal map, you don't see it that much. But you see that you can create this kind of painterly effect with that. And you can choose how smooth it is or how sharp. You can choose in the sharpness to add some details. The cool stuff also, there is an anisotropy that will give like a kind of direction to it. You can also choose the tension of it. So if I put it to 0, you see that there is no tension. But if you play with the tension, it will push the value like that. And you can also choose the angle of the tension. So by default, it try to follow the path, let's say the flow of the texture, but you can overwrite it if you want, and you can also overwrite it via a texture. So if I take here, you see that I have anisotropy angle map. So if I take a Perlin, for example, Perlin noise, go here, plug it up here. So by default it does nothing, but if I'm going here and change this, you see that no, not this one, sorry, this one, angle map multiplier, it starts to take what we have here to drive the results, which means that if I'm going here and say I'm going to diminish the scale of that to get something wider, it will make some change, but some change which are a bit more subtle. And once again, I can go here and add on top of that another tension, which is, in my opinion, super cool. That said, in my case, I'm going to remove that because I liked the result by default. So just by playing with that, you can have like goes from this to this, which in my opinion is great. And a cool way to use that as well is to say, you know what, I'm going to take this, Control D, and I'm going to use it for the normal map. Sorry, for the normal map here. And you see that for the normal map it does the same. We go from this to this. If I use that, you see that now it gives this kind of stuff. And finally, even if I would do it with a grayscale, there is a grayscale. I'm not even sure there is a grayscale. Maybe Kuwahara. No, it's just color. Not a big deal. I'm going to take that, and I'm going just for the roughness, maybe to do the same. It will be converted. Not the most optimal, but still we go from this to. That much change. That's good. We should increase the radius here. Yeah. Okay, and roughness. So this way you can have this kind of cool wall, stylized wall. Yeah, Pets of Warcraft, you say you need to learn more. Yes, to me, designer is the most technical, of course, but it's also the core of the full ecosystem, because you not only you can build material, but most important, you can build tools, utilities that you can use anywhere, like in a sampler, painter, etc. And the fact to use this, for example, what I want, one of my next stuff that I want to do is to be able to build like the stylized filter that you would use in Painter. So you put your model, either it will take something realistic and turn it into stylized, or you can just apply plain colors and it tries to mimic some hand painting stuff. But yeah, with that you can make so much stuff that's so great. And, once again, I can do that and say I want to hide ambient occlusion because I have some points. Here, yeah, so I don't have the black point. So this is great. You can do some cool stuff with that. I love it. This is a Kuwahara filter. Another one that we do have, which is great, is yeah. So yeah, Pets of Warcraft. I've imagined. I think you are like, if you are into details. I am reading Warcraft, so I can imagine that you love stylized art. You told me you are also in 3D printing, so yeah. I made my idea about that. So now, another one that we did is the quantized color node. So you may say, hey, wait a minute, Vincent, there is already a quantized one. Yes, but if you used it for another thing than the grayscale, you may have seen some limitation. Let's see that. So for example, I have this nice styling. Let's put that as new material, sorry, like that. And I'm going to clean the rest. Okay. So I removed everything. So I have this nice styling here. Fine. And if I were using the quantized node, you see there is one quantized color, simple. Right now we call it. Let's call it bad, because honestly it does not make like a great result. It may be useful in some cases, but most of the case it's really hard to use. Why is it bad? Because first of how it looks, it's you can do it but per channel, which means that you say, okay, I want 4 grades of red, 4 grades of green. First, and second, it does not look at all as like the reference. So even here we have, for example, like 12 shades, and we don't have a good result by default. If I put less, like let's say I want 6 in total, it's night and days between your reference and what you have here. So of course it limits the usage. That's why my colleague, I think Nicolas Wehrmann, did that. He said, okay, let's make a new one. And when Nicolas says that, generally you know that you will have a good time. So he made a one which is called quantized color, this new one. And when you plug it here, you see that by default, first it has 32 colors and it almost looks identical to the reference, just with 32 colors. If I reduce to 16, it still looks incredible. Oh, 128, sorry, 16 I said. It looks great, and even if I go to 6 colors, you almost don't lose anything. That's crazy. So you made a great job. So let's make 5, for example. Start losing a bit, but that's super respectable. So first of all, this is a great node. Congrats, we love that. I hope you will love it as well. And combined with the Kuwahara, actually can give like some super cool stuff because you can put that here, and I will put like 5 colors, and the most important radius of 5, and it will remove the details. So once again, you can get some cool stuff, but that's not what I want to show. So great, but if you look, you see that you have additional outputs. You have one output here, you have an ID map, which is black and white for some reason. Explain why. You have a palette that is a line like this, but if you look at the beginning of the line, you see that you have the 6 colors which are used. So this is information about the 6 colors which are used to tint that. So this is how, and the idea is this is where. And finally, you have the palette color amount, which is an information. You see just a number. So for the ID map, I say there is, you can say, but I have 6 colors, and the ID map there is only 2. Yes and no, because if you look closely, you see at the bottom that it's written grayscale HDR 32 bits, which means that it's if you take an 8-bit map, it will store the value between 0 and 1, 0 being black and 1 being white, and you cannot go above or below that. With an HDR map, you can do that, which means you can go above and get value which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to whatever you want, which is used generally to store lighting information in a HDR map and environment map, so you can have like the intensity of the sun at the same time that you have the intensity of the rest of the map without having anything burnt. That's how we do that. But also, if I look at the information here, so trust me, I know I cannot zoom and move here. If I zoom here, you see that I have the number, which is 0, 1, 3, 2, 1, etc. So I have different numbers here, 1, 6, 5, sorry. So it means that it stores everything from 0, in that case, to 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we have 6 different colors. Okay, fine, but why would it be useful? Because we made this node, but not only. We made a series of palette nodes. Exactly, we made 4. We have apply color palette. We have create color palette. Right order. We have modify color palette here, and finally at the bottom we're going to put view color palette. So 4 new nodes. And how do we use that? Well, the view color palette is easy, but just make sure to plug the right stuff. You see there is color code, but for example output and palette is the same color. So here what it needs to visualize the color palette, it needs the palette and the palette color amount, which means these 2 info. If you have Adobe, you can go in material mode, do this, and it will directly plug the right one. And what it does, well, it visualizes your palette. And the great thing is, if here you change the number, well, the palette will adapt so you can see all the colors. So that's cool. It's just to visualize, to validate with your art director if he or she is happy with the chosen color. That's a good way. That say he or she can be happy or not, but you don't have any way here in the quantize color node to change the color. You can choose max color amount, you can choose the smoothing. For example, I can say make it smooth, so you see the value are a bit better spread like that, for example. You have some other stuff, ignore alpha, distance, etc. But you cannot choose the color. That's why we have these one here, which are great. The thing that you can do, so let me remove, I will keep it here, but I'm going to do that. I can modify the palette. So I can go here, plug, and when I do that, you see that I have a value, so I can go here and change the color. Watch out, we have to be, that's something I have to fix, to understand. You have to be an RGB here to be able to work, because I think it's the color management which is not set properly here. but that's fine. So now what I can do is move this point, for example here. It will select everything in the color palette in the ID map that correspond, and you can choose the color that you want, whatever it is, like that, and you can choose it. So you can modify the color palette, and the great thing, as it's based on this information, is that it's extremely precise. It really takes the ID map and change it properly. So that's cool. That's a good one. Now, another one, sometimes your art director, you say, you know what, I have my feeling, I know what I want something more warmy, or more like this, or more like that, whatever. You can say, no problem, because you have this node which is called Create Color Palette, which means that instead of using that, we can create our own information. So once again, I'm going here, I can define the amount of color I want. Here we had 6, I will put 5 maybe. Check. Okay, I put 5, why not? And I can go here to this palette and I say, okay, I will create a color palette with 5 colors, like that. And I will choose my color. So you see, I have some by default, and maybe I want something, I see warmy, so let's say I love this one. Just, we are going to make it simple. I say, oh, that's the perfect one. Maybe I want this one, I want it more red, orange, like that. Whatever you say. You can say with your art director, do you like this palette? That's what you want? Oh yes, I love it. That's the best palette ever. So once again, I remove that because it's just to view, not to be used in the workflow. But now that I have that, what I can do is I can use the apply color palette. And what I will do here, I will just take the ID map of this one. So where do I apply stuff? And here I will plug the palette. What do I apply? And now I have my, well, psychedelic color palette that works pretty well. And once again, I can put that. And what I can say here, for example, all the joints, the right one. So I can either go here, look at the color, which may be this one, and change it to something dark, like that, brownish. Whatever. So you get the idea. You can manipulate, and the great stuff with that is if you define stuff properly, you can build your own setup of color palette and reapply it to levels or to clothes or whatever it is that makes sense for you. You see that it's super easy. After you can adjust. Of course, here I would definitely don't scale the saturation and everything. RGB saturation, that, and but here to showcase stuff. So that's the new quantize and palettes nodes, and I think it's awesome. Honestly, we have seen the Kuwahara. We also made some cool stuff with the histogram nodes. So let's go back to my material here. So, and let's see. First of all, I want to show a node. Sorry, that is new. It's not new, but we made a new version. It's the curvature, smooth. So this node, once again, for stylized stuff, has been used a lot because it allows to create a curvature map, which is, well, smooth enough. And to give you an idea, when you plug the normal, it gives you something like that. So curvature, to remind, the convex area are going to be brighter. When it's flat, it's going to be gray. And when it's concave, it's going to be dark. That's the idea. So in that case, for example, most of it is flat. So of course it's gray. So this is something cool. You can play with histogram to isolate some stuff, to make some masks, etc. For example, if you want to add some details on the edges. But in this one, we made a version which gives first a better result, but also which offer more ways to isolate data. For example, you have the generic curvature that we do have, but we also add convexity, which will focus on the convex one, and concavity, which will do the contrary, focus on the concave one. And it's great because it allows you to make quick masks really easily. For example, if I take this, let's make an HSL node like this one. I'm going to take the base color and I'm going to push like crazy the saturation. Okay, something really vulgar. I'm going to take a blend node like this one, and I'm going to blend the regular on this one. So by default, okay, it takes the top one like that. If I put the curvature generic one, it's not giving a great result because once again, most of it is gray. So it means that it will try to blend them together, which in that case does not make sense. This one is good in some other cases, but this one, that's not how you would use it. But if you start moving to convexity, that makes more sense because it's just on the edges. And for example, if I push that, I will push to the lightness a lot, so we can see it, and it make edges super a bit bright. So that's something that could make sense. You can put this with an auto level, for example, so you get even more contrast, and that will make more sense in my opinion. Or you can use the concave one, which is in case we do the same within the cracks. So here I may do the contrary and put some, if I want to make it then darker, I can do that. So once again, a great way to make masks, to isolate some parts, way more control, better result, and faster. So you can do muchas cosas. Hola Javier, tendré que ver esto después. Yes, Javier, y tienes la versión en español que está grabada. Translating, Javier is saying that you will look at that after the stuff. I said yes, and also you have the Spanish version that I grabbed yesterday, so you can also go on to my channel and watch it in Spanish. Could be interesting. Okay, so we have that, nice. Another one effort that we did is work on the histogram nodes. So histogram are ways to manipulate. It's like improved level. What we call a histogram is this. Is the how the grayscale or the values from dark to bright are spread on your model. Here you see, for example, there is lots of darks. There is a dominance of dark, so of course it's on the left. If I would take, for example, this one, you see that it's the dominance of gray because that's what we do have here, and the other one, convexity, well, dark as well. Okay, so that's interesting in some cases to see, for example, if your map is well average or if there is no burn value or stuff like that. And histograms are made to modify that, which can be useful in many cases to adjust an image, to play with the height map, because the brightness is defining the height level, so you can play with that. So we have a bunch. If you type histogram, you see you have a bunch of ways to modify that. And one of them, so we added some right now. First of all, we added the histogram render, which is this one. Well, this one, simply it allows you to visualize an histogram. So for the curvature, it has this histogram. Sorry, I'm going to do it this way. So you see that it's the same shape here. You can play a bit, change the scale if you want, sorry, like that. You can also change the precision, etc., etc. So that's good. I wouldn't say you would use it necessarily to create something. Maybe we'll find some people will find some clever ways to do that, but the general manner, it's more to visualize. We also create one which is histogram compute, which is a technical one. I'm going to show it, but you may not use it, at least not maybe 10 people on Earth. What it does, it takes that once again, and it stores the values here once again in 32 bits. So if I look at the information, you see that you have information for each level. So once again, it's a way to store the histogram in a line like this. This may be used in pixel processor to do some specific stuff. So quite technical, but still it's there, so it's cool. And one that we added that is interesting is the histogram equalize. So what does it do? So as when we look at this one, as we saw that here the value are really concentrated here in this gray part. And what the histogram equalize does, so we go from this to this. It means like it looks like a really contrasty map, but what it does, it tries to spread and average the different values, so you have as much dark than gray than white. So if you look in the histogram here, you see that it made that. You can see it here as well. You can define the precision, so the more precise you put, the more data it will have to average the value, which is great in my opinion. So it gives this kind of contrasting map. So you can use to increase the contrast and get something really average, which is nice. But there are other ways. For example, I want to show you one. So let me delete this material here. Try to just take base. Oops. Sorry. Base material like this one. I'm going to plug that here. Have my material. I'm just going to change few stuff right now, like that. Metal, so I have something like that, and what I want to do is kind of a swimming pool water. Okay, so just two aspects that I want to control here would be the height map and the base color. Of course, you would do more, but at the moment I want to do that. I'm just opening these two slots, and to do that, what I want to use is a node called Caustic, which is a great node, by the way. Caustic. Why not? Okay. Okay, RT Caustic color or grayscale. I'm going to take the grayscale one. So when you see that there is nothing, because it needs an input, and the input needs to be a noise. And especially it works great with the Perlin noise. You look this, I'm just plugging it, make this kind of mess. But if I change the scale of the Perlin noise, it will start to make sense and to give this kind of well, caustic that you would find in a swimming pool, for example, which is great. Just let me make a random seed like that to get something different from yesterday. So that's a good way to make this kind of stuff. And by the way, I'm pretty sure if I play with that here, disorder. Oops, sorry. Here, play with disorder, I can animate this water. So cool. Now what I want to do is that's definitely a good base, I have no doubt about it, and I want to use that to create my base color and my normal map. So what I could do is say, okay, I'm going to go on internet and I'm going to look at caustic swimming pool to get some reference of color. Caustic swimming pool. Yesterday I made one, it was working directly, so hope I will get the same chance. So it was this image, which is nice, and you see I'd like to use this color. So the way to do that in Designer is to use, we can colorize an image with the gradient map tool, node, sorry, like that. So I will do this, which is great, and what it allows me is to replace each type of value by new ones. So you can do it by hand, or there is a tool here which is called the gradient editor, and you have a peak gradient which allows you to draw a line that will sample all the colors from dark to and replace from dark to bright. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do here is take this image, so in order for us to see, I'm going to push that a bit, and I'm going to try to do it from here to here. I can save the screen, yes. So I do peak gradient, and I'm going to make a line like that. This point. Nice. So I'm going here, and you see that my gradient is nice. It's a nice gradient, but the thing is, as my values here, so I'm closing that. The issue is you see that we almost don't have, it's almost everything dark. Why? Because if I look at my histogram render here, if I look at this image, we see that all the images are, all the values are mostly in the dark. Meanwhile, so it would mean that I would have to tweak my gradient to try to push left to compensate the fact that this is not average. The values are not average, so it does not make an average gradient. But we have the histogram equalized. So if I do that right now and I take it, I have this image, and this image has an average one, so I can even push it even more. So this one, sorry, I will put 248, which gives me like really average value, which is pretty interesting. And now if I use that and plug it here, bam, you see that you have directly a great caustic with the color which correspond, because the value are spread in an average way. So that's a great way to use that. So let's plug the color here. So we have some nice color, and same issue with the normal map. Here I can push this and put it here, and it will generate a normal map. Push a bit the value, and I may need to put a small blur to avoid these artifacts. So here what I'm going to do, go here, down, I'm going to push a bit the intensity to 10, so we can see, you see that I have lots of issue, but most of it, the issue is that I have lots of normal map information here. So let me put a blur so we see without being distracted by the check. Okay, way better. So we see that we have lots of normal map here, but almost nothing here. So it's like flat, and there is no well, it's not good. Let's say. So now if I take this one once again, why? Because the main difference here, it's quite light, and up here we have lots of information. So what I'm going to do is use this one. The value are better spread out, and if I took that here, you see that now we have way more interesting values. They are spread differently and give something better, in my opinion. So I'm going to put that to 5. Once again, now if I want to play a bit, I'm going here. If I play with my disorder, I can animate this, and it works well. Okay, so that's the histogram scan. We added some other stuff which are great. Let me check, but that's mostly the histogram scan. Sorry, histogram equalize. That's one of the usage I found, which is great. We have seen the quantize. I'm inviting you to go to our website as well, our YouTube channel official, because we make some cool tutorials about the equalize color. We made some notes that I'm going to show like this, because I don't have example. Yes, I have bevel smooth. So this one is cool as well. So curvature smooth with it allows you to, before we already have a bevel one, sorry, but it tends to make some artifacts when you have some round stuff. You had some jaggy lines that were creating, which was a bit annoying. Well, this one allows you to make like this kind of shape without having the jaggy line, which is great. So bevel smooth is awesome. Another one which is funny is the normal uncombined. So we have a node which is the normal combine node, which means that you can take this shape and maybe this wall dust rust shape like that, and combine them together to give that. But now what we added is, if you have these images and you have the original grungy shape, we have a normal uncombined, which allows you to get back to this result. So you may have this need somehow. If you applied an effect to something and you want to remove it, you know you applied and you have the exact same source, well, you can remove it. And oh yes, a small one, but a cool one. Here, for example, you see we have a repetition. We can see it. when you spacebar, you can repeat, and you have this red stuff. Well, now, sometimes people were saying, yes, sometimes I want to inspect the seams, and I can because there are this red line. Well, now if you put the mouse close, it will make the line disappear. So it's just a small quality of life improvement, which is nice. Let me check what else do we have. Gradient map. Oh yes, this one is cool. So I will destroy a bit my scene, but that's not a big deal. So now if I go to my gradient editor, if you do middle click, you can move and repeat. You can move your gradient. So in that case, it does not make a lot of sense, but there are some cases where you may want to play and replace properly the data. So now you can middle click here. That's cool. We also have a distance, directional distance node, if I'm not wrong. So if I take and put like a shape, star. Let's take a star. This one. Scale a bit. That. We can take a distance map. Where's my perlin? Let's see how it goes. First time I'm using it. But, so yeah, you see that it will push according to the stuff, maximum distance. So Halloween is coming. So you can change that. You can change the angle of it. So to make some logos, that's some cool stuff. That can be useful. So yeah, it makes a distance, but instead of pushing in any direction, you can choose the direction for it. Map angle display. Oh, me. Look, you can even put map angle display. Okay, so you choose how much it's pushed depending on the stuff. So you can get some cool results. I can imagine here like a logo of a hardcore rock band. Maybe for my next thumbnail, people will love it. Let me check. I think this I can close. API improvement. We added some stuff in the Python API to get some more control. If you work in VFX, we made sure that we are compliant with the latest specification of the VFX reference platform. This is really tied to the VFX industry. Once again, this reference platform allows the studios to align their tool and their stuff, and also the software maker like us to make sure we are compliant, so we are using the same technique. This is something that we do underneath, but which is still really important. There are big pipelines in VFX, and you want to make sure you are not the one who breaks it. Okay. And I think that's it for today. We saw a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go to the chat. I'm going to wait a bit because I know there is a delay. I hope it has been useful. I hope Dragon Up forgave me for making this thumbnail. I wanted to make something cheesy, really cheesy, like old fashion. It is. Maybe either I made it not enough or too much. I don't know. I would say not enough, so it was obvious, but still, that's fine. I can live with that. So let's see if you have any question. What I want to add as I said, in 3 weeks, I will be in Miami. So if you are over there for Adobe Max, if you are over there, just contact me. If we can see each other, that can be cool. If you have any question, don't hesitate. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you like it. That always helps. I'm also on different platforms. I am on X, LinkedIn, I am on Instagram, a bit on TikTok. So feel free to follow me. I have an Instagram group as well. Let me share that because it's quite cool. Let's see if I can share that. Substance 3D Hub. Share this. Yeah, tag. So I'm going to share this. This is a group where I tend to share tutorials, not necessarily mine. If I do, I'm sharing it. But this is not a discussion group. This is just a few times a week I will share a link about a cool learning Substance 3D content. You won't be spammed. Once again, I do it once a day or at max, sometimes twice, but it's very exceptional. For example, if I have an automated content which is going to be shared, plus I'm making a live stream like that, you may have to. But once again, there is no discussion, there is no spam. So if you want to go there, with pleasure. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you liked it, that you have learned some stuff. Thank you for being there. It's really appreciated. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment, online. I'm easy to find. So we should see in 2 weeks if everything goes well, or if not, in 4 weeks. And between both, in 3 weeks, I will be, as I said, in Miami. So we'll see. But I'll try to make one before to go. So thanks again, and see you soon. Bye bye.